Well, let me ask you this one, man. I've talked to a lot of people
Mm,
that love Ram Dass, but I don't think they've ever met him.
mm,
You have a personal relationship with the guy.
mm,
So I imagine you have a different outlook on who he is just because it's
mm,
simply like you're in the same room as him having conversations with the guy.
mm.
How would you describe who this figure of Ram Dass is to the world, having a relationship with him? Like how to somebody, or going back to somebody that doesn't know any better, to somebody that has no clue who Ram Dass is, who is he? What is Ram Dass all about? What is his spirit? Why do we love Ram Dass so much?
Yeah, I mean, wow, that's a huge question. That's a,
I'm laying the
that's a,
big ones on you. Sorry, man.
that's a really, it's a big one. Hmm. Well, I think in answering that and kind of taking a look at it myself, it's really valuable and beneficial to understand the transformation from Richard Alpert to Ram Dass
Mm,
and who Richard Alpert was. Um, these days we really take it for granted that, hey, we can live any kind of life we want. We can change our name. We could go to every transformational festival in the world
yeah,
and do whatever we want. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
Be
in
whoever you want
1950,
this time around.
yeah, it could be anything you want, but also externally and finding our tribes is much easier these days. It's kind of everywhere. But 1950s America was a very different place. And, the story of Richard Albert and, becoming this professor at Harvard University and, working in the early psychedelic field and, this guy who was really on this trajectory for like the American dream and accomplishment and status and tenure and getting published and all of those things. And back in those days and, moving into the mid 60s, expressing dissatisfaction with that path, that wasn't something people really did. It
Yeah.
was like, what do you mean? That's everything. That's America. What couldn't you love about that? Um, and then, as he was kind of going along the path, the incarnation of Richard Albert and the frustration that he saw with some of the psychedelic work, um, and then when he went to India and met this person, this being, whatever he was, met this person who had a different map of consciousness, um, who had a different plane of existence.
Yeah.
And he was able to take a little bit of a shard of that light and bring it back to us here in the West. Um, and did so like very few other Westerners ever have, Ram Dass was just a guy. He was just a man. Of course, he was burdened with humanity and his struggles, just like everyone else. Of course, I'm not putting him on that kind of pedestal, saying he wasn't infallible or anything, but he did get something very unique from Neem Karoli Baba that many of the others didn't get in such a profound way. He did get a shard of that light of unconditional love. And it wasn't an act.
Yeah.
It wasn't an act. It wasn't a pretense. Ram Dass did get in the yogic system, they call them siddhis, which means yogic kind of powers that you get from doing practice, from doing sadhana. And Ram Dass did get some of those siddhis. He really did get that capacity to beam you into a field of unconditional love. And it wasn't a joke. It wasn't pretense. It doesn't make, any of the mistakes he made as a human being erase any of those, but he did get those. And he did lay a map out for us to follow for all of his decades of work afterwards, to follow and to tap into and to really examine the very nature of what it means to be alive, what it means to be conscious, what it means to be a seeker, what it means to be human, you know? Um, and I think, the juxtaposition of Ram Dass having that core kind of foundation of traditional psychotherapeutic expertise into the inner workings of the human condition mixed with the spiritual map and the spiritual plane created just a curriculum, I think, of spiritual life that is second to none in Western life.